Investing for retirement and creating emergency funds are ways many people secure the future. But a recent study shows nearly 50% of parents say they are still providing financial support to their adult kids. How do you balance supporting your grown children financially and your own personal finances? Peter Sashecki of Everything Financial joins us now this morning. Oh, this is a common thing that we're hearing from a lot of people right now, isn't it?
It is. You hear this all the time, and it's getting more prevalent, more and more people talking about it. What am I going to do? What about my kids? Especially in BC.
Right.
Because of the housing costs.
And they're not just supporting them, but often they're like living under the same roof, which makes it even more.
For a long time.
Yeah, for a long time. So why are we seeing more young adults taking longer to reach these key milestones?
Housing costs is one, but it's not the biggest cost. Everyone in BC, of course, always thinks housing costs, especially in the Lower Mainland. It's not. It's paying debt to universities.
Like tuition costs.
Paying tuition costs for years and years, because we know, and we've seen other studies you and I have talked about, university for dollars spent, and I'm not anti-university obviously, but for dollars spent is one of the biggest wastes of money as far as how much you put in and what you're getting out of it. And that's the problem. You carry that debt on way too long, and that's the biggest problem, is paying back those debts.
Yeah, they can be hundreds
especially
of thousands of dollars.
In the States, which is worse than Canada, but still, money you don't have.
Yeah, and lower wages might also contribute to people, grown adults, maybe not making the money that they thought they'd make and really needing to rely on mom and dad still. The bank of mom and dad, as they're called. So the biggest drain, is it helping with student loan debt, or is it the cost of living, like housing costs?
Helping with student loan debt is the biggest thing, but what parents have to realize is they need to look after their own finances first before dishing out money to their children. And that's what part of the answers in the study is. They can't afford to retire. Parents can't afford to take a vacation. Parents can't afford to upgrade their car. So their life is suffering for the sake of their children's debt.
How do they create those boundaries then?
Really start early with the kids. It's great in Canada. Start with an RESP when they're young. Don't waste that 20% grant from the government that you can get for making deposits. The more you can put in when they're younger, the more likelihood the kids are for financial success and not needing the bank of mom and dad or the scholarship of mom and dad, or as we say. So you have to start. So people now who are young, in their 30s, first child, it doesn't have to be a maximum RESP. Just get it started.
Is it too late once parents are of a certain age and the kids are of a certain age to try to plan for their own future? I mean, how do they go about doing that?
It's never too late. We talk about this with the retirement planning. Anything you do will put you further ahead financially than you were the day before. And that's not a bad thing. So start early, but people say, well, I'm not old enough for a financial plan. Part of a financial plan isn't your retirement. Part of your financial plan is making sure your kids aren't going to be a drain on your financial future too. When you're doing a financial plan as a couple, as an adult couple, you're also planning for your kids' future. So start that plan early. There's never such thing as, I don't have enough money to do a financial plan, or I'm too young to worry about a financial plan. There's no time that's too young, too soon. Get it started early. It'll help you and your kids.
Okay, so grown children and their parents, maybe they're living on the same roof. What would be your advice to both of them so they can get back on their feet?
Send your kids out for an evening, paint the house, and then they won't know where they're coming home to.
That sounds easier said than done.
Both on their financial plan. Go as a family to see a registered financial planner and get some counseling where you're planning for your retirement, just the basics. If you get your plan done, which isn't that onerous, it can be done pretty easy. And then you go, okay, we can afford to help our kids, Jane and John Doe, with this much to help them get on their feet. So everyone gets a starting point. And then do it together.
And then they know where they're at as well.
That's right. Getting kids your education for financial planning early will only help them, because maybe they'll be working, oh, here's a thought. Maybe advise your kids they might have to work 2 jobs to get ahead.
2 jobs.
And maybe they can't move into the city.
Right.
They might have to move out into the valley and work their way up.
Making different financial decisions based on what they've got. Good, interesting points to make today, Peter. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks a lot. We'll see you next week.
See you next week.